I'm sitting here in an empty apartment that used to be filled with her laughter, her perfume, her presence, and all I can think about is how 5 years of my life were built on a foundation of lies. 5 years. That's 1,825 days of waking up next to someone I thought was my soulmate, my partner, my mirror. That was her name. And God, how ironic that name became. Because she reflected back exactly what I wanted to see, while hiding everything that was really there underneath. I met Mirror when I was 26, at a community event in the city. She was 23, and there was this sadness in her eyes that drew me in like gravity. She was sitting alone, and when I approached her, she smiled, but it was the kind of smile that barely reached her eyes. We started talking, and within an hour, I knew her story. Her mother had died when she was 15, and her father remarried within a year to a woman who made Mirror's life hell. Her stepmother saw her as competition, as a burden, as something to be tolerated rather than loved. Mirror had dreams once, dreams of becoming someone, of building something beautiful with her hands and her creativity. But those dreams had been systematically crushed under the weight of neglect and emotional abuse. I fell for her that night, not just for her beauty, though she was stunning, with these deep brown eyes that seemed to hold oceans of untold stories and pain. I fell for her spirit, for the person I could see beneath the brokenness. I wanted to be the one to heal her, to show her what real love looked like, to give her everything she'd been denied. But my family saw it differently. We come from different tribes, different cultural backgrounds, and in our community, that matters. That matters more than love, more than compatibility, more than two human beings choosing each other. My mother pulled me aside after I first mentioned Mirror, her face tight with disapproval. "You cannot marry this girl," she said, her voice cold and final. "Our people don't mix with her people. Think about your future, your children, the complications." My father was worse. He threatened to disown me, to cut me off from the family business, from everything I'd known. My siblings looked at me like I was betraying them, betraying our heritage, betraying generations of tradition. But I loved her. God help me. I loved her with everything I had. So when I proposed to Mirror 8 months after we met, down on one knee in the same park where we'd had our first real conversation, watching her cry tears of joy and disbelief, I knew I was choosing her over everything else. And I didn't regret it. Not then. She said yes through her tears, clinging to me like I was her lifeline. And in that moment, I felt like a hero. I felt like I was doing something pure and right in a world that tried to keep us apart. I wanted to give her everything she'd been denied. Her stepmother had refused to help her with education, had told her she'd amount to nothing. So I paid for Mirror to attend hairdressing school, a passion she'd mentioned in passing, something she'd dreamed about as a teenager. It wasn't cheap, but watching her light up when I handed her the enrollment papers was worth every penny. I found her a nice apartment. Nothing fancy but clean and safe, a place where she could study and practice and build her skills. Every weekend I'd drive across town to be with her, bringing groceries, helping her practice on my hair until I looked ridiculous, laughing together until our stomachs hurt. Before we continue, we would like to thank all of you who support us by subscribing, liking, and sharing our content. The only appreciation we ask of you is that you subscribe, like, and share this video if you are not yet one of our subscribers. Thank you. My family's fury when I announced we were getting married anyway was nuclear. My mother cried, my father yelled, my older brother called me a fool who was throwing his life away for a girl who'd probably leave me the moment something better came along. But I stood my ground. I married Mirror in a small ceremony with just a few friends. No family from my side, just her and me promising forever to each other. And I meant it. Every word of those vows, I meant it with every fiber of my being. The first 2 years were beautiful. She graduated from hairdressing school at the top of her class, and I was so proud I could barely contain it. I'd take pictures of her with her diploma and show anyone who'd look. "That's my wife," I'd say, my chest swelling with pride. She did that. I saved up and opened a small hair salon for her, nothing massive but a good location with decent foot traffic. I handled the business side, the paperwork, the finances, while she focused on building her craft. Slowly, she started getting clients, building a reputation. Her happiness was everything to me. Watching her thrive, watching her become the person she was always meant to be, that was my purpose. We talked about starting a family. Mirror wanted to wait, wanted to establish herself first, build a solid client base. Just another year, she'd say, kissing my cheek. Let me get stable, and then we'll have a baby. I promise. I agreed. I agreed to everything she wanted because I loved her, because making her happy was my greatest joy. Looking back, I was a fool. I was so blinded by love that I couldn't see what was right in front of me. It was year 5 when everything shattered. A Tuesday afternoon, I was at work when I got a Facebook message from someone I didn't recognize. The profile picture was of a woman I vaguely remembered from Mirror's hairdressing school days. They hadn't been friends, I was certain of that. Mirror had mentioned her maybe twice, always in passing, never warmly. The message was simple and devastating. I'm sorry to tell you this, but your wife is cheating on you, with her boss at the supply company she works with. It's been going on for a long time. I thought you should know. My first reaction was disbelief. Anger, even, at this stranger trying to ruin my marriage. Mirror didn't have a boss, she owned her own salon. This woman was clearly confused or malicious, probably jealous of what Mirror and I had built together. I almost sent the message to Mirror, almost showed her so we could laugh about the absurdity of it together. But something stopped me. Some small voice in the back of my mind whispered, "What if? What if there was truth to it? What if there were things I didn't know?" That night, I couldn't sleep. Mirror was beside me, breathing softly, her hand resting on my chest the way it always did, and all I could think about was that message. The next morning, after she left for the salon, I did something I'd never done in 5 years of being together. I took her phone. She'd left it on the charger in the kitchen, and my hands were shaking as I picked it up. I knew her passcode. We'd never hidden anything from each other, or so I thought. I sat at the kitchen table, my coffee going cold beside me, and I opened her messages.